Inside the SCCA, presented by Goodyear Racing Tires. We are here at the 60th SCCA Runoffs. Bonus coverage here. Now we are actually in the paddock at the Goodyear Racing little compound here.
Right.
And I've got with me a friend of the podcast, Austin Bradshaw, a repeat offender now.
Yeah, a repeat offender,
A repeat offender. Made your way all the way out here from, it's Bend, Oregon, right?
Portland area.
Portland area? Okay,
Yeah.
close enough. Close enough.
Yes.
A long ways.
A long ways from
Did
Virginia.
you tow yourself?
No.
Okay.
Fortunate that I was able to have Scotty B. White take my car out here, so thankful to him. Obviously, I had to pay for it, but
Yep, sure.
had some sponsorship in to help cover some of the transport costs. And, yeah, we were able to fly in, which was a great help, and got the car here and been smooth sailing.
So have you been able to party with Scotty B. White at all? Because he's a madman.
He is a madman. Scotty's been busy. He's running 3 groups this weekend, and so we've been partying with his crew throughout the week. And like I said, thankful to have their support at the track here to get my car here.
Sure. So I'm not going to ask you how'd you get started in this thing because you've already been on the show before. So we're gonna pass over the pleasantries and maybe get to a little bit of the unpleasantries.
Yeah.
You had a little schmozzle earlier in the week. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Unfortunately, during our first qualifying session, second day on track, headed up the hill into turn 11, up the corner before Oak Tree, and hit the braking zone about where I normally would, and maybe half a marker later than I had before. And unfortunately, the car did not seem to slow down or turn. Still, we watched the video and compared it to a bunch of other videos, showed it to my buddies, other racers, and all of them kind of felt the same way I did. It was a head-scratching moment. So
nothing broke?
A lot of.
Well, nothing broke before the impact.
Yeah, nothing broke before the impact.
That's weird.
Nothing was obvious on the brakes anything there. So, I mean, maybe my foot was on the brake pedal while on the gas pedal at the same time. Or I just broke a hair too late. It was a head scratcher when I was in the wall. After when it happened and watching the video, it didn't give me any answers either, and didn't lock up the tires. So just kind of one of those weird things, and wasn't even really pushing. So I've heard many great pieces of advice throughout the week, and many of them told me to get back on the horse and not worry about it. And I've been fortunate for the last 5 years of my racing career that I haven't hit anything on my own up to this point. But unfortunately, when you're out there trying to find the limits, I guess, and sometimes you find the wall. And at this track, as we've seen throughout the week here, Brian, like walls are everywhere.
Yes.
And they are very near to the racetrack. In one of my home tracks at Portland, it would have been a simple off and back on. But here, that wall is within 20 feet of the racing surface. So I almost missed the wall by a few feet, but I got the very edge of it. So it is what it is. And then we got the car back. I wasn't sure how bad the damage was going to be, but definitely folded up a lot of the body work. A little bit of the core support and the front frame horns were bent, but the frame rails and the engine bay were all straight. Took the trip to the infield care center. I didn't really know the extent of the damage. I got out of the car and looked at it. It wasn't as bad as what I thought when I originally was sitting in the seat in the wall. But we got the car back to the pits and kind of eyed it a little closer and realized that it wasn't as bad as we thought. And fortunate in that regard. It was certainly a lot of structural body damage, cosmetic though, and the suspension, radiator, oil cooler was all safe. So we got to work and started grinding away on pulling parts off and repairing parts.
Yeah, because I've caught up with you, I think, Wednesday afternoon.
Yes.
And by the time I got to you, the car, it didn't have the right paint in the right spots.
Right.
But it looked relatively straight. And, I mean, I've seen cars show up at the runoffs with looking like that.
Sure.
So, a year's worth of racing before, you get to everything to make it nice and pretty. So you guys did a really good job. Now, were all those parts bent back into spot, or did you have stuff in the trailer to be able to bolt on? Because you didn't have your own trailer.
No, we didn't have our own trailer. Being so far from home, we didn't have any spare panels with us. I would have loved to have had a spare nose because that would have come in handy. But no, we didn't have anything with us, so we just started going to town on what could we repair. Luckily, we were able to flatten the hood back down, did a little fiberglass on that to restructure the bottom.
Right.
And the front fascia, funny enough, one of my fellow competitors, another Goodyear racer in a Cataram, e-production friend Peter Norton, had a front fascia from his old RX-7 race car. He doesn't race one anymore. He lives 30 minutes from here.
Okay. I was going to say, that'd be a weird thing to bring to the racetrack.
He saw that I got into the wall, and then he was like, I think I have one of those. He drove home in the middle of lunchtime, literally found it. And I'm like, I'll take it. I said, what do you want for it? He's like, I don't want anything for it. It's been sitting in the back of my yard.
Okay. before we go any farther, if anybody wonders why we come to the racetrack and race with the SCCA, and it's not just the SCCA, it's a lot of club racing like this. It's that kind of friendships and have you raced against Peter before?
No, but Peter and I have been, I guess at Indy we did race before. So we were pretty close on the grid at Indy, and we got to know each other a bit there, and we've been connected ever since. Two young guys out there in a field of predominantly older drivers, and so we've bonded since the get-go. And
So Peter helps the guy out who starts 3 cars behind him, who could beat him on Saturday or Sunday or whenever you race, Thursday, and drives a half hour, gets the things, brings you back so that you can come back and be on the racetrack.
Yes, what an amazing act of kindness, and that's the kind of guy he is, and I think that's why both of us are become such close friends. Before that even happened, we've been talking throughout the week, and I've been staying in close contact, and we're really excited to race together this week. So it was what a generous act from him, and he didn't want any money for it, even though I insisted. And so we've got that on the car, got a rattle can of white, and then I went to the local auto parts store, bought a bunch of fiberglass repair kit, and started going to town on the nose, which had been that's the heaviest sustained damage was the nose, and so. We had to reshape some of it with some cheap plastic, and then on the inside we just glassed it up. It was about a 5-hour ordeal to get that nose back into shape. Tons of fiberglass work, me and my Uncle John and my brother Alec, but fortunately my family is in the body shop industry, so we're used to dealing with fiberglass, and we do all of our own paint and body work, and never had made any repairs at the track. So I had never hit anything that required repair at the track, so this was a new thing for us, but we knew that the body shop, or auto parts stores had those body repair kits, and went and bought it all and got the sticky gloves on and the resin and started slapping it on, and by about 11 o'clock we had the nose all shaped up again, and with some duct tape on the outside, of course, to hold its form, and let it dry overnight. And the next morning we kept having people come up, and they're like, I can't believe that you said you hit the wall yesterday. So a good friend of mine, Chris Hart, rebuilt the front bumper mount that kind of mounts that front nose, and so he's a fabricator local to the Northwest, good friend of mine that races Super Tour races with me out there, and he offered to come over and knock it out. I could have done it. My dad could have done it. Would have taken us an hour and a half because we're not pro welders, but he did it in like 30 minutes and made it look easy, so I was really grateful for him to do that.
So do you have before and after pictures?
I do, yeah.
You send them to me, and I'll put them in with the show here.
Yep.
All right, let's fast forward. Did your qualifying time come from Tuesday or Thursday?
Came from Tuesday.
Okay, so you had a good qualifying time before you went in.
Yep.
You got a chance to go out Thursday and make sure everything was still doing everything, wheels pointing in the right direction, so that was cool.
Yep.
Started 6th.
Yep.
And you finished 6th.
We finished 6th. It's a little underwhelming, but in all reality, after the week we've had, a lot of late nights, tinkering with the body and structure of the front, it was a win for us to be there. To get to the impound area at the end of the race was a huge accomplishment after all that we've been through. And we've had bad luck in a lot of ways on this trip, not just the car, and the handling's been all kinds of all over the place. And we've worked on it thanks to the help of many different great opinions out here, and got the car in a little bit better window, but we're just didn't have the outright straightaway speed that some of our competitors had, and so we kind of were in our own window. But in the race, we started 6th. We had probably the speed to be close to 5th or 4th. We definitely think with a full 40-minute race, we could have been maybe in the top 5, but we got a shortened race after a pretty big wreck on the first couple laps that took out a few competitors, which I'm grateful. I think that they're okay. It was kind of a nasty pile up in the lower S's there, but they're okay. We only ended up getting 3 laps after the red flag, and so our plan was a long race to help me continue to learn the track, and we set our tire pressures up for those last 10 minutes, and we only got about 15 minutes of green flag track time. So, but we were right on 5th place and not too far behind 4th. I think with a few more laps this week and maybe an extended race, we would have had a chance for a top 5. But I'm happy with 6th, and it was a great accomplishment for our team.
Just think about it this way. You're racing against the best production drivers in the country.
Yes.
And you came in 6th.
Yes, I can't complain.
You take that home
Yes.
and sleep on that, and then come back next year to Road America. Are you hoping to come back to Road America?
That's the goal, yes. Road America, I've visited 3 times. It is, I think, my favorite place in the whole world besides Disneyland. So I've never driven the track, but we've visited a bunch, and I can't wait to bring my whole family there to go racing next year. So the plan is to try and get a faster motor in the car. The motor that's in there this year is just a little down. It's kind of laying over, but being down 12 miles an hour of straightaway speed was tough to be competitive this year, but we learned the track. We had a good experience. To be 6th out of 25 in our class with that much of a deficit is an accomplishment in itself. So we'll try and make a bigger bullet in the engine next year and have a little more straightaway speed, hopefully, to be a little bit closer to that top 5, top 3 area. So we'll see how we can do.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Austin Bradshaw, E-Production, 6th place at the Runoffs. Pretty good job.
Yep.
We'll see you again. We'll talk to you again, of course, probably between now and then, and hopefully we'll see you again next year at the Runoffs. And I'm probably going to be at Portland this year.
Oh, good.
So
Perfect.
you're going to have to show me around Portland.
Yes, it's a great area, and we're excited to have the Super Tour. So got to quickly thank my sponsors.
Yeah, get them in.
Sunoco Racing Fuels. They helped to make this experience possible this year at the Runoffs, coming on board, and of course Goodyear Racing Tires. I've been running on Goodyear since I started racing, and it's the best rubber you can find for our e-production cars and live axle or solid axle cars, and we just love those Bias Ply R430. So the tires were there. Our rear setup was not there this week. Couldn't find springs, but we did what we could with what we had. So got to thank Techno Toy Tuning as well for all the great suspension components, and Cobalt Racing Brakes, Molecule Sports, PDX Garages, Clancy's Irish Pub, Back Home, Shreve Construction. So lots of people that have chipped in. Rotary Engineering, unfortunately, I'm going to need some more body work from them to repair the car, but Valvoline, of course, for keeping our motor and diff and transmission running reliably all week. So big thanks to so many people that have helped along the way and supported us, and so really excited to be here, and like I said, have the experience, and we'll take what we learned, which was a lot this week, Brian, and transition that into next season. So looking forward to it. All
right, we'll head to Clancy's Irish Pub, and the first stout's on me.
We will do that.
All right.
Thank you, Brian, for having me on the show.
Austin Bradshaw
Appreciate
here.
it.
Inside the SCCA. Presented by Goodyear Racing Tires. We're here at the Runoffs, the 60th Runoffs at Virginia International Raceway. Inside the SCCA, presented by Goodyear Racing Tires, here at the 2023 SCCA Runoffs. Sitting here with me right now is John Brakke, e-production BMW driver. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That is the one thing I get trolled in the chat all the time about screwing up drivers' names. So I always like to try it and then ask if I got it right. So welcome. Let's start with how was your week leading up to race day?
Week was okay. The second day of qualifying was basically rained out. The third day of qualifying, I did a lousy job driving and then fell from third to fourth on the grid.
Okay.
Weather was nice, though,
yeah,
in that respect. So no real complaints.
Were you here last year?
Yes.
So we should have zero complaints, even with the not-so-good weather that we had this year.
It's true. Now, qualifying was great that year, and then the race was terrible.
Yeah. My wife told me I needed to bring a rubber ducky with me this year, and that would guarantee there would be no bad rain.
Yes.
So not too bad in qualifying. So how'd your race day go out?
We got 2 laps in, and then there was a red flag, and we sat around for about 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they sent us out for a 17-minute timed race.
Okay.
Restarted in single file.
Yep.
4 of us basically broke away at the front, and about halfway through the 17 minutes, I was able to get by third place, and then unfortunately, second place car went off the course, so I inherited second place.
Well, that should be unfortunate for them, but not for you.
you always like to win your places by competition.
So much of racing is someone else's misfortune becomes someone else's fortune.
It's true.
I'm sure there were times when you fell out of a position and the guy behind you took over, and while it's noble to want to earn your positions, you take them when you can get them.
I do. I'm not giving back the second.
You're not giving back the second. Is this how many podiums have you got at the Runoffs?
Is this 5 or 6?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
5 or 6, and how many times national champion?
3.
Okay, great. So not quite where you wanted to be, but it's still a good run nonetheless.
Yep. Try hard next year again.
How many times have you been to the Runoffs?
Oh,
Get ballpark it.
40.
40.
About that.
40. That's just crazy.
There's
only been 60 of them.
What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Started racing in '79, and I think we went to our first Runoffs in '83.
Okay.
And we probably missed, one of the California ones, the very first one here.
Okay.
And the one in Daytona.
Okay.
I think those are the only ones we missed.
So what keeps bringing you back?
I just love racing.
Yeah.
And equal to that, I love the people.
Right.
We've got a great crew that we built up over the years.
Sure.
And then lots of friends around the paddock.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Have you always done production? Or have you been in different classes over the years?
The car I started with started out in production, went to GT3.
Okay.
And then I sold that, and then started with e-production. First Miata, and now the BMW.
Okay. you made the switch. Obviously, Mazda's the big supporter of the club in so many ways. What made you make the switch to BMW?
The car was just had advantages.
Okay.
The Miata was always getting out-dragged
right
to the first corner by the BMWs.
Right.
And so you'd spend 5 laps, beating on their door, trying to get around them. And then when you got around them, if you weren't first, the first place people had gone up the track and disappeared.
Sure. So 40-ish runoffs attempts.
Yep.
Next year, we're going to Road America.
Yep.
Planning to be there?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
It's my home track.
Oh, really? Where are you from?
Milwaukee.
Really? I grew up in Elkhorn.
Yes.
Just outside of Milwaukee.
Exactly.
I usually tell people Lake Geneva because nobody's ever heard of Elkhorn, but I figure someone from Milwaukee might know. So, Road America was my first racetrack.
Okay.
And Blackhawk Farms was another one that I absolutely love. And unfortunately, it's too small to host any big races.
Right.
And I think they still you have to stop the races to go through across the track.
Do,
There's still no tunnel.
No.
So that makes it problematic as well. So, well, then definitely looking forward to seeing you next year at Road America, and you'll go after another national championship.
That's
and
the plan.
And a 41st attempt. That is so
Yes.
often. All right, John Brakke here with us at the Runoffs. This is Inside the SCCA, presented by Goodyear Racing Tires. Inside the SCCA here, presented by Goodyear Racing Tires. We're here at we're here at the SCCA Runoffs. I've been to too many events in the last month.
It might seem like solo for me after this week.
I have lost control of where I'm at. My time-space continuum is screwed up, everything. Taylor Hyatt is here with me. I believe I need to wish you a happy birthday.
It is my birthday, yeah.
This is going to go off in the next week or two, but today is her birthday. Congratulations. What better birthday gift is it to be at the Runoffs racing a car?
What better day could you ask for? It's beautiful, and we're going to race.
Absolutely, and you're going to have a good time with it, I'm sure. You have the dubious honor of being my first mystery guest.
Yes.
On the show. I'm going to have to do that
fun.
again now that the off season has come and I have some little holes that don't have real topics on it. And I've known your dad for a long time, and it's a family affair for you here, like it is for a lot of us. And that's one of the great storylines here of the SCCA and of the Runoffs. Let's start with how has your week been going?
The week has been a little rough for us, to be honest. We've had a lot of mechanical issues. We have done more hardship laps than qualifying laps this week, so we are super excited we think we have the car in perfect shape. We're super excited to get out there and run some laps at VIR with our fantastic H-Prod competitors.
Yeah. And you have one of the best named cars. What is the name of your car?
My car is Big Bird.
And it's spelled B-U-R-D.
Yeah, it's German. Everything has to be a little
Exactly,
weird. Yeah.
exactly. And it's the proper color.
Yes.
So, this is your first Runoffs, right?
It's my very first Runoffs.
You've been to the Runoffs.
I've been a couple of times,
Right.
yep. Was here in 2019 with my boyfriend, Mike Kelly.
Yep.
And then he was supposed to run again last year, had some mechanical issues, but we came and volunteered, and that's how we started our week this week, with volunteering on flagging, and then I spent a couple days on grid before we got in the car.
So, I know it's improper to ask a lady their age, so I'm not going to ask. But
Well, there's a good story if you ask.
Well, okay. So
I'm
how old are you?
I'm turning 31 today.
Okay.
And my car number is 131.
Oh, very
so
nice.
I have a good feeling about it.
Well, so, Paul Newman used to change his car number every year as he got older. So you can be 132 next year?
No, our number means a little something
Okay.
to us, so we're going to keep it. My dad has run 31
Oh,
his
nice.
entire
Yep.
career in racing, so I decided I was going to be 131. So we'll keep it. But it's cool this year that
Right.
it's my 31st birthday and I'm in 131.
So you were at the track very young,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
my parents met at Summit
Okay.
Point.
Okay. So let's just say you've been around this sport for 31 years.
Yes, that's correct.
What's it like after being involved for 31 years? This, like I said, this is gonna go off on YouTube a little time after the Runoffs. But today,
Yeah.
31 years in
Yeah.
your racing career, you're gonna strap into a race car
Yeah.
and race for a national championship.
Yeah. It's intimidating. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I've been around it for so long, and watched all of these people as I've grown in the sport. They've grown as well, and we've watched some friends win national championships this week, which is super emotional. And I don't think we're at that level yet. We're just starting out. We're not there, but to go out in H-Prod with these national champs, and I mean they have been over in our paddock helping us this week. It means so much just to be here with this group of people in this capacity.
It's my opinion that the first time you get here, that's the win.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
qualifying.
Yes.
And while everyone wants to, every time we put our helmets on and we put our gloves on, we want to take home a checker flag. No question.
Yeah.
But for some people who are here, they know that that's not probably in the cards this time.
Yes. Correct.
But you take a little bit from every time you come, you create a basis of brain knowledge so that the next time you get here, wherever here is, next year it's Road America, you now, it's now more muscle memory.
Yep.
You don't have to think quite as much about it, and you're going to be a little faster at that one. So getting here is a huge victory, and I keep trying to remind people of that. And you got a ton of people out here rooting for you, and no matter where you finish, it will be a win today.
Yes, we are. Our goal was to take the green, and I think we're there. We've got the car where it needs to be. So the next goal is to take the checker, and we're going to get there today.
So obviously, this sometimes changes depending on what happens at the runoffs. What's the plan for next year?
I think we're going to take a little bit of a break next year. We've been pushing really hard the last few years to get, again, Mike to the runoffs, to get me to the runoffs. I think we're going to take a little break, run some regional races. We can't give up our Mars series in the DC region. We love that group. So we'll run a couple there and then see what 2025 has to bring.
There you go. All right, she's Taylor Hyatt, one of the friends of the podcast here, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Have a good time. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, this is Inside the SCCA, presented by Goodyear Racing Tires.